Republicans want to overhaul the nation's voting procedures and plan to move quickly when the new Congress convenes in January.
Yes. Are you all here for the Democratic presidential preference primary? Okay. You can go to window 2, have your photo ID out. She'll assist you at 2. Yeah, just walk. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And they can.
Republicans in Congress want every person who registers to vote to prove U.S. citizenship and to show an ID every time they cast a ballot.
Photo ID is essential. You need it to board an airplane, buy a 6-pack of beer, or open a bank account. I think it's appropriate that you need photo identification to be able to vote.
They say this is needed to restore public confidence in elections. Democrats have previously opposed legislation requiring proof of citizenship and say the drop in confidence is the result of 4 years of false claims by Trump and his allies over the 2020 election.
Okay, you turn it face down for me. Insert it on top of the green arrow. And it's going to read really, really fast. But your vote has been counted.
Democrats say GOP proposals go too far and could make it harder for people to vote. They want to see Democrats and Republicans come together to support dedicated federal funding for election offices.
She was told that one person would be at the window.
There you go.
She was trying to go by herself. What is God, man? You're right. Yes.
On voter ID, Democrats say they are open to it, but want to make sure that any ID requirement doesn't prevent eligible people from voting.
If we were in a negotiation and they said voter ID, I'd say, look, I can live with it as long as it's not intended to, again, make it difficult for people to vote.
Ultimately, it will be up to state and local election officials to implement any federal changes. Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, a Republican, says that he supports voter ID and proof of citizenship requirements.
For 2 reasons. It adds security, but also adds voter confidence. I think there should be citizenship verification like we do here in Georgia.
Michigan's Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, a Democrat, says there has to be a good reason to make a change to election rules and hopes that federal lawmakers will look to states that ran successful elections this year.
My job is also to make sure everyone has access to identification and gets their license or gets their state ID. And so what we really need are more resources from the federal government that helps us get people IDs before they implement or add more onerous identification requirements to the requirements that are already in place.